The first time the billionaire watched the nanny through the hidden cameras, he expected to see a thief. Instead, he saw a woman kneeling on the kitchen floor, crying into the shirt of his disabled son. And then she whispered something that made him freeze. "I know you can hear me, sweetheart. You don't have to be afraid anymore." Adrian Whitmore stopped breathing. For 3 months, he had secretly watched every person who entered his mansion. He had watched employees steal expensive bottles of wine. He had watched a housekeeper slip jewelry into her purse. He had watched a personal assistant photograph confidential documents. That was why he had installed the cameras. Not because he was paranoid. Because money had taught him one terrible lesson. Almost everyone wanted something from him. But his son, Noah, had never wanted anything except to be treated like a person. Noah was 22 years old and had lived with a severe neurological condition since birth. He could move his right hand slightly, blink on command, and make soft sounds when he was happy or frightened. He could not walk. He could not speak. He could not feed himself. Doctors had once told Adrian that Noah would probably never understand the world around him. Adrian had refused to believe them. He had spent millions on specialists, private therapists, experimental treatments, and equipment that filled half the mansion. But none of it had changed the one thing that mattered most. Noah was lonely. His mother had died when he was 6. Adrian had responded by working harder. He bought better equipment, hired better doctors, built a private therapy center. And somehow, without realizing it, he had become a stranger to his own son. Then came Elena Morales. She was 31, quiet, and completely unimpressed by Adrian's wealth. During her interview, Adrian had asked her the usual questions. "Do you have experience caring for patients with severe disabilities?" "Yes." "Medical training?" "Some." "Why did you leave your last position?" Elena hesitated. "Because the family wanted someone who would keep their son quiet." Adrian studied her. "What does that mean?" "It means they didn't want him to make noise. They wanted him sedated during family gatherings so guests wouldn't feel uncomfortable." Adrian felt something tighten inside his chest. "And you?" "I refused. That was all." 3 days later, Elena became Noah's live-in caregiver. Adrian told himself he hired her because she had experience. But deep down, he knew the truth. She was the first person who had looked at Noah without pity. She looked at him as if he were still there. As if he were listening. As if he mattered. For the first few weeks, Adrian saw nothing suspicious. Elena woke Noah at 7 every morning. She helped him bathe, dressed him, fed him slowly, and took him outside whenever the weather allowed. She talked constantly. About the weather. About music. About the silly things she saw online. About the stray cat that kept appearing near the garden. Noah could not answer her. But Elena never stopped talking. One afternoon, Adrian watched from his office camera as Elena placed a small speaker beside Noah's wheelchair. Soft piano music filled the room. Noah's eyes moved toward it. Elena smiled. "You like that one, don't you?" Noah blinked twice. She gasped. "You do." Then she danced. Badly. Terribly. She waved her arms around the room until Noah began making a soft clicking sound. Adrian watched the screen. For the first time in years, he heard his son laugh. He nearly walked into the room. But he stopped himself. Instead, he sat alone in his office and watched. Over the next several weeks, something strange happened. Noah began changing. He became more alert. He started responding to Elena's voice. He smiled when she entered the room. And sometimes, when Adrian came near him, Noah would turn away. That hurt. More than Adrian wanted to admit. He blamed Elena. Maybe she was manipulating Noah. Maybe she was trying to make him dependent on her. So Adrian installed more cameras. One in the living room. One in the dining room. One in Noah's bedroom. One in the garden. He told himself he was protecting his son. But the truth was uglier. He was looking for a reason not to trust anyone. Then one night, at 11:47 p.m., Adrian opened the camera system. He had been working late. The house was quiet. He expected to see Elena asleep in the staff quarters. Instead, the bedroom camera showed her sitting on the floor beside Noah's bed. Noah was awake. Elena was holding his hand. And she was crying. Adrian leaned closer to the screen. "I know," she whispered. Noah made a soft sound. "I know you're tired." Another sound. Elena lowered her head. "I know you hate when they talk about you like you're not there." Adrian froze. Noah's eyes moved. Elena wiped her face. "They think because you can't talk, you don't understand. But I know you do." Adrian stared at the screen. His heart began beating faster. Elena reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I brought it again." She placed it on Noah's lap. It was a simple communication chart. Pictures. Letters. Words. She had been trying to teach Noah how to communicate by moving his eyes. Adrian had never seen it. Elena pointed at the chart. "Look at the letter you want." Noah stared. She waited. Patiently. For nearly 2 minutes. Then Noah's eyes shifted. Elena looked down. D. Noah blinked. She moved her finger. E. Noah blinked again. Elena's mouth fell open. "Do you mean Daddy?" Noah's eyes filled with tears. Adrian stopped breathing. Elena looked toward the door. She had no idea he was watching. "Oh, Noah," she whispered. Then she leaned over him. "Your dad loves you so much." Noah made a broken sound. "But he doesn't know how to show it," Elena continued. "Sometimes people with big hearts build big walls." Adrian covered his mouth. He had spent years telling himself that he was doing everything for Noah. He had built a mansion without stairs. A therapy room larger than most apartments. A medical staff that worked around the clock. But he had never sat beside his son long enough to understand what Noah was trying to say. Elena placed her hand against Noah's cheek. "Your dad is scared." Noah blinked. "He's scared that if he stops controlling everything, something terrible will happen to you." Noah's eyes moved toward the camera. Adrian felt the blood drain from his face. Elena followed his gaze. She stared directly at the hidden camera. For a moment, Adrian thought she had discovered him. Then she smiled sadly. "Maybe you already know he's watching." Adrian stood up so quickly that his chair fell backward. He rushed out of his office. He ran down the hallway. When he entered Noah's room, Elena looked up. Noah's eyes were fixed on him. Adrian stopped in the doorway. For the first time in 22 years, he didn't know what to say. Elena slowly stood. "Mr. Whitmore. Don't." She stopped. Adrian looked at the camera in the corner. Then at his son. Then at Elena. "How long?" She frowned. "How long what? How long have you been teaching him to communicate?" Elena looked at Noah. "About 6 weeks." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you never asked." The words struck harder than any accusation. Adrian looked away. "I would have paid for a specialist." "I know. I could have gotten the best equipment in the world." "I know." "Then why?" Elena's eyes softened. "Because Noah didn't need another machine first." Adrian said nothing. He needed someone to believe he was already communicating. Noah made a soft sound. Elena turned toward him. "It's okay." Adrian slowly approached the bed. His son watched him. Adrian pulled a chair close. Then he sat. "I don't know if you can understand me," he whispered. Noah blinked. Adrian's eyes filled. "But if you can." "I'm sorry." Noah stared at him. "I thought keeping you safe meant controlling everything." His voice broke. "I thought if I gave you the best doctors, the best equipment, and the best care. That would make up for me not being here. Noah's fingers moved slightly. Adrian reached for his hand. I was wrong. Noah blinked. Once. Twice. Elena looked at the chart. Ask him something. Adrian looked at her. What? Ask him what he wants. Adrian's throat tightened. He looked at Noah. What do you want? Elena placed the chart in front of Noah. Noah stared at it. The room became completely silent. He moved his eyes. Elena followed. D. Adrian's heart pounded. E. Noah blinked. Elena looked at the next letter. L. Noah blinked. Adrian whispered, Del. Elena looked at him. Maybe he means. Noah's eyes shifted again. P. Adrian stared. Elena smiled through tears. Help. Adrian broke. He lowered his head onto Noah's hand and began to cry. Not quietly. Not like a billionaire who had learned to hide weakness behind expensive suits and controlled expressions. He cried like a father who had finally realized his son had been waiting for him all along. I'll help you, Adrian whispered. Noah's fingers moved. Elena looked at the chart. Then she smiled. Love. Adrian lifted his head. What? Noah is spelling love. Adrian stared at his son. Noah blinked. Once. Twice. Adrian laughed through his tears. Then he leaned forward and kissed Noah's forehead. I love you too. The next morning, Adrian did something no one in the mansion expected. He removed every hidden camera. Every single one. Then he called a meeting with his staff. I want to apologize, he said. No one spoke. I treated everyone like a potential criminal because I was afraid of losing my son. But fear doesn't make a home safer. It only makes it lonelier. He turned toward Elena. And I nearly missed the most important thing happening in my own house. From that day forward, everything changed. Adrian began spending mornings with Noah. He learned the communication system. He learned how long to wait for an answer. He learned that a blink could mean yes. That a slight movement of the fingers could mean frustration. That a smile could mean music. He learned that his son had opinions. Noah hated broccoli. Loved old jazz. Was terrified of thunderstorms. And thought Elena's dancing was hilarious. Months later, Adrian funded a nonprofit therapy center for disabled adults. But he refused to name it after himself. Instead, he called it the Noah Whitmore Center for Communication and Dignity. At the opening ceremony, reporters asked him why he had spent so much money on a cause that had never been part of his business empire. Adrian looked toward his son, who sat beside him in a wheelchair. Then he smiled. Because my son spent 22 years trying to tell me something. A reporter asked, what was it? Adrian looked at Noah. Noah blinked twice. Adrian laughed softly. He says I talk too much. Everyone laughed. Even Noah. And this time, Adrian didn't need a hidden camera to see it. He was right there. Watching. Listening. Finally, truly present. And for the first time in his life, Noah wasn't waiting for his father to notice him. His father already had.